Welcome back to NRL and My Opinions, NRL expansion candidates. It is the third episode today, and we are looking at the Papua New Guinea Hunters, the PNG Hunters. We are leaving Australia for the first time in the series. Of course, the Hunters are currently playing in the Intra Super Cup, otherwise known as the Queensland Cup. We know about the cult following that Papua New Guinea has in terms of rugby league, with rugby league being the national sport in Papua New Guinea, actually the only country in the world where rugby league is its national sport. They go absolutely crazy for the greatest game of all, and you know what, I don't blame them. Papua New Guinea, of course, was a team that has been highly suggested for this series as well, and it's evident because in rugby league as a whole over the past few years there's really been an uprising in people wanting an NRL team from Papua New Guinea in the NRL because of this cult following, and they're absolutely obsessed with NRL. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into it here in the intro. Let's get a little bit more in depth and find out a bit more in general, at least, about the PNG Hunters. We are going to first look at the Hunters specifically and then PNG Rugby League as a whole. In 2013, the Hunters were introduced into the second tier competition, that is the Intra Super Cup. This was to appease Papua New Guinea Rugby League fans a bit without giving them too much, without just putting its team straight into the NRL. They're still sort of a trial team, I guess you can say, for Papua New Guinea Rugby League, just to see the support that the fans actually gave the club, which, spoiler alert, has been, immense. It has been amazing, and it's also shown with the national team in the 2017 Rugby League World Cup as well. A lot of support by the Papua New Guinea faithful to the Hunters. It's sort of like a national team playing in a club competition, you could say, and it's sort of been put there as, I guess, a trial to see how the team would fare. They've had a bit of money put into them, and to see how well a Papua New Guinea team would do in the NRL, and I think a lot of people agree that a Papua New Guinea team in the NRL is pretty much inevitable at this point, just because of the sheer support that the Papua New Guinea fans do show this club. Of course, in 2017 they did actually win the Intra Super Cup competition, however got beaten pretty easily by the New South Wales Cup or Intra Super Premiership winners, the Penrith Panthers, in the state championship, and we know how good that Penrith Panthers development system is, so they are a very hard team to beat, although the Bulldogs did win the state championship in 2018 as a side note. When talking about the Hunters, it is really important to remember this national pride, because that is the main thing pushing this club. There are other issues that may actually prevent the Hunters coming in to the NRL, which a lot of people did bring up into the comments, which I'm going to address now. So one of the major issues a lot of you guys had that didn't want there to be a Papua New Guinea team in the NRL, so I guess here we're not just addressing the Hunters, we're addressing a Papua New Guinea team joining the NRL at all, is their ability to attract star players. And I think, I'm not sure, I can't really remember if anyone specifically said this, but I've got to say they're probably alluding to just the vast contrast in the lifestyle and the culture between Papua New Guinea and Australia. Now, I obviously don't know myself a lot about the Papua New Guinea culture. I know some people from Papua New Guinea actually do like the page and have commented on the post and, have supported this video being made about the Hunters. So, if you guys can maybe comment below, a bit more about what the culture is like in Papua New Guinea, that'll really help me sort of get my mind around this myself. But it is just a very contrasting lifestyle from how we live here in Australia, the majority of us. So it is one to think of. Even if the Hunters do get a fair bit of money pumped into them, you sort of got to think, will players take less money to stay in Australia just because they don't want to change lifestyles? Because it is a big leap for them. The changing lifestyle could also have a negative effect on the players on the field. Of course, we've seen in the past off-field issues can lead to on-field issues. Now, I don't know how much this would actually affect a player on the field moving this different lifestyle, because, changing lifestyle a bit could be, moving from the Brisbane Broncos, where it's usually hot in Brisbane, up in Queensland, whatever, down to Canberra, where it's freezing cold a lot of the time. That can be seen as a bit of a lifestyle change. However, this one would be on a bit more of a bigger scale, because it's different in culture, it's new country, but I sort of think, a lot of players would probably be able to cope and change the lifestyle. However, it's about that initial convincing the player that they can change the lifestyle. A lot of players probably won't want to take that risk. So I think you'll find maybe in the first couple of seasons, they'll get a couple of players, a couple of decent players. I don't think they'll get any star players. However, a couple of decent players, and probably locals from Papua New Guinea. So I don't necessarily think they'll experience any, instant success. They'll sort of have to grow. And you know what, if, let's just say, a Papua New Guinea team does join the NRL and they end up winning the comp, full of natives, that can only do the world of good for Papua New Guinea Rugby League, just to add on there. But coming back to the issue about players actually, signing with a Papua New Guinea team in the NRL, let's just say the Hunters, for an example, if they join the NRL, people actually suggested, who were for the Hunters joining the league, players being based in Cairns to actually fly up to Papua New Guinea when they need to train and when they play at home, and then fly to away games from where they live. However, the negative of that is, it's a team's got to be a cohesive unit. They've got to pretty much live together, not physically, of course, but train together, play together, sort of live in the same area, I guess you could say, because you don't want certain players feeling, like they get more privileges than the rest because they get to live in Cairns or whatever. And you know what, if some money does get pumped into the Hunters or whatever Papua New Guinea team is likely to join the NRL in the coming years, which, I think it will, because they will want it to survive, then those players can get paid a fair bit of money. And I don't really want to allude to greed here in the NRL, but I think they'll be fine with copping that lifestyle change if they cop, a couple extra zeros on the end of their contract. But anyway, we've gone through, this major negative, so that's something to think of. We've got to think, both sides here. However, let's go on to the facilities that they currently have, the Hunters and Papua New Guinea Rugby League as a whole, and more specifically their home ground. So in the 2014 and 2015 seasons, the PNG Hunters actually played at the Callabund Oval, which is a 7,000 seat capacity oval. However, in 2016 they actually moved to the Papua New Guinea National Football Stadium, located in Port Moresby, which is a 14,800 seat stadium. So that's double their capacity, which is also alluding to the actual, the support that the Hunters have got, earning themselves a move to this bigger, and got to say, looking at this picture here, better stadium. Obviously a 14,000 seat stadium with the whole country supporting the one team, rugby league being the national sport, you could almost expect them to nearly sell out this stadium each week, with 14,000, which of course, just like we're talking about the Sunshine Coast Falcons, their stadium, which is 12,000 seats, a little bit less. However, it still sort of meets where we're averaging here in the NRL. And I did say with the Sunshine Coast Stadium, it would need a bit of renovation to meet an NRL standard in an off-season, but not much. Looking here at this stadium, the National Football Stadium in Port Moresby, this pretty much needs no upgrade. It looks like a professional rugby league stadium already, so I think it's good to go. Obviously if they do join the NRL, the only upgrade you'd sort of give it is more seats, just so you can fit more people in. However, this is a sort of good looking stadium, and 14,000, they can nearly sell that out each week. I'm not going to say they would, because there's a possibility that they won't, but I'm telling you, they'd get near it. So they've got the facilities, as we can see here. They've had the money invested in them. They're playing at sort of a professional ground. This only points to the Hunters or a Papua New Guinea Rugby League team joining the NRL one day. However, I'm about to give my personal opinion on a Papua New Guinea team joining the NRL. I'm just going to come out and say it. Papua New Guinea would pretty much be the perfect expansion place for the NRL. You've already got a fan base there proven for the Hunters. I personally think put the Hunters in the NRL. It is a name that the Papua New Guinea fans have already associated with, so keep that Papua New Guinea Hunters name, move them to the NRL. I wouldn't keep them in the Q Cup and then put another team in the NRL. Maybe move the Hunters to the NRL and put another Papua New Guinea team, a lower grade side, in the Q Cup. However, yeah, I definitely think a Papua New Guinea side needs to be in the NRL. Hear me out though, let me explain why. Obviously, and I'm pretty much just going to repeat stuff I said before, it is the only country in the world where rugby league is the national sport. It is close to Australia. You're missing out on something huge if you don't do this. They're pretty much going to sell out the stadium each week. They're going to make the Roosters, the defending premiers playing at Allianz Stadium each week, look like chumps when they can only sell out a quarter to half of their stadium. And it's not just the Roosters, they're just the first side I could think of the top of my head. No disrespect to the Roosters, because it's happening to a lot of teams who do play at the biggest stadiums. You're going to have that massive support. The atmosphere is going to be amazing. There will be active support. Now, obviously, we know we have the kennel for the Bulldogs. We have the Burrow for the Rabbitohs, and pretty much every team has their own supporter group, but you only pretty much hear of those two, and those two supporter groups don't really, have any active support anymore. I mean, constantly chanting throughout games, and I don't just mean, chanting your team's name with a clap, or like banging a drum every now and then. I mean, coming up with original chants, and original whatever. You think of this Papua New Guinea team, they're going to be singing songs, they're going to be doing tribal dances, whatever. It is going to be nuts, but it is going to be a spectacle to see. Obviously, the thing with attracting those big name players might be an issue, but you know what? This team could finish last for the first 3 years in the comp, and they'll still have massive support, because this Papua New Guinea team, if it does join the NRL, it will represent the entire nation of Papua New Guinea, not just the Port Moresby area, just the entire country, because it is the national. I know I keep saying it. It is the national sport throughout the entire country of Papua New Guinea, and they will finally have a team from the nation's favourite sport representing them in the highest league in the world. I cannot stress this enough. There needs to be a Papua New Guinea side in the NRL, and I know it might not be traditional. I know because we're expanding to outside the country, I know Papua New Guinea maybe isn't as developed as in Australia or even in New Zealand. However, the support that these fans give, they will show up to games, they will support this team like there is no tomorrow, I'm telling you. And if you're worried about star players, not to put them on the spot, but I can pretty much guarantee you, maybe a David Mead, a James Seguiaro would definitely be up for going to this club, players who are from Papua New Guinea. I don't know what more to say. However, there is a however. I definitely want a Papua New Guinea side, the Hunters in particular, to join the NRL. However, we need to expand within Australia first. Definitely 100% and for the Kumals, or the Hunters, just not straight away, not the first expansion club. Announce them, definitely announce them, confirm that they will be in the NRL in a certain amount of years, name the date. However, they can't come in first. I reckon we need to expand within Australia first, because that's the main thing. We are the National Rugby League. We don't want the game to die out in Australia. It's great that it's in Papua New Guinea, but we don't want to shift every team to Papua New Guinea all of a sudden. Grow the game within Australia and then move there. I'm talking Western Australia and South Australia first. That is key for mine. That is key, because we're not even going to be the top sport in Western Australia or South Australia. AFL's already got it. maybe even the A-League. But you know what, if we put teams in there now or soon, we could beat the A-League teams like Perth Glory or Adelaide United. I'm sorry, you know, soccer fans, whatever, A-League fans, but you know, NRL teams could probably beat those clubs, those soccer clubs. But yeah, we need teams there first. And of course, I've done a West Coast Pirates video. I am planning on doing a video about an Adelaide team. I don't know any Adelaide team in particular that has put in a bid. I might just do the Rams for an example. When I do a video, I'll go more in depth with those first, but definitely a Western Australia and South Australia team first. They can come in together. However, after that, you put in the PNG Hunters, or at least a Papua New Guinea side. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video. Like, share the video, comment down below your thoughts on a Papua New Guinea side joining the NRL. This video has probably gone for way too long already. The other two were about 3-minute long videos. This one's gone for about 10 minutes. But anyway, thank you for watching the video. If you watched it all the way through, give it a like, comment your thoughts, give it a share, and I'll see you guys on the next NRL expansion candidates.